All right, it's a new week and we are finishing our revisit of the 7 main energy centers. If you have something like yoga blocks that could be pillows or folded firm blankets, as well as a strap, they might be useful today. We're going to begin lying on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana, which means bending your knees apart to open the hips, and this is where you might use blocks. If your knees are uncomfortably rising away from the ground, you could put blocks or something like them underneath your outer thighs. So the closer the blocks are to your hips, the more you are supporting the thighs if they're really up high. And then the further away, the less support. And then come to lie down on your back. As you make your way down there, use your thumbs to actually frame the middle part of your spine, your mid-back on the left and right sides, and see if you can firmly trace down the sides of your spine to help release the flesh of your glutes further away from the rib cage, just to create a little more space in the lower back. And then from here, draw the shoulder blades down the back ribs. Set your left hand to rest at the middle of your chest, the heart energy center, and your right hand to rest below your belly button, the sacral energy center. As we connect to the ground underneath, you might close your eyes and tune in to whatever catches your attention first. Body, breath, mind. Begin to explore deeper breaths, perhaps long sighs to your mouth. So if you'll remember our exploration of the 7th chakra, which is in Sanskrit called Sahaswara, and it is the crown energy center located around the center of the brain above the top of the head area. It is the source of energy through which we can feel interconnectedness with the world, with all beings and creatures and nature. It's our ability to have unity consciousness, which is similar to samadhi. We talked about that in the 8 limbs of yoga. This idea that we are not separate from each other. So according to Tai Tubali, or Shai Tubali, he's the author of the article that I've been referencing these past few days, he reframes the 7 chakras under Maslow's theory of the hierarchy of humans' basic needs. If you'll remember, from survival, like shelter, food, air, and then from that layer upon layer, finally self-actualization, this ultimate spiritual connection and realization of your full potential. So according to Shai, he describes the 7th energy center as our perception of life as a meditative space of self-knowing and pure subjectivity. It's where we have spiritual union. Furthermore, he says, last but surely not least is our highest spiritual need. As human beings who embody both divinity and humanity, we will forever remain hungry at the soul level as long as we do not fulfill oneness with the greater whole of existence. It is the most refined human need to feel belonging, this time not to a social structure like in the first chakra. Remember, the root energy center is belonging to the earth, to your family, to groups. An inherent part of the human condition is the experience of limitation, finding oneself entrapped within a small box of belief system, conditioning, and thought patterns, without feeling, at least from time to time, that one can break free from this box and be limitless. A sense of inner suffocation can easily creep in and keep us in misery. The last need, the 7th chakra, is to feel connected to a part in us that is unshakable and indestructible. Only our eternal spirit can grant us We experience that despite all physical fragility and dependency. We are, after all, a divinity expressing itself through a human form. So as you lay here, feel the weight of your left palm on your heart center. Breathe into that space, let it rise, and then fill up the belly too. Exhaling here, whisper through the mouth. And here are some positive affirmations that can help us tune our seventh energy center. I honor the divine in me. I honor the divine in all beings. I am pure consciousness. I free myself from limiting beliefs. The universe supports me and us. Continue to deepen your breath, and if you have something supporting your outer thighs, go ahead and slide those objects out to the side so that with your hands you can lift the knees up and step your 2 feet on the floor. So keeping the left leg just as it is, lift your right leg and flex your right foot. Spread the toes back towards the knee and take your hands to the back of your right thigh towards the meat of your hamstring. Drawing the shoulders down onto the floor, relaxing the neck. So here you could use a strap if it feels like it's too far away to reach for that thigh and still relax the shoulders. Straps are useful as an extension of your hands. So now begin to press the thigh against your strap or your hands so that the thigh becomes vertical, perpendicular to the floor. The knees right over the hip. And then keep that pressing into your hands or the strap. And inhale, straighten the right leg up, still flexing the foot. Keeping that tension between thigh and strap or hands. Exhale, bend the right knee, dropping the heel close to your right glute. And that's what we're gonna do for about 7 more breaths. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Keeping that tension, exhale, bend the right knee. Now, if it feels okay on your hamstring to go further or deeper into the stretch, slide the left leg straight as you do this. Inhale, straighten, exhale, bend the right knee. And go ahead and flex the left foot if you are straightening the leg. Keep going, your own pace of breath, straightening and bending your right leg at the knee. At your own pace of breath, noticing that your right knee remains stacked right above your right hip and your 2 hips are equidistant from your 2 shoulders, meaning the right hip is not hiking up closer to your right armpit. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. Just warming up the glute in the back of the right thigh, the hamstring, and then go ahead, if you have a strap, place it on the ball of your right foot and straighten the right leg towards the sky. Again, if you need, if it feels a little too much for your hamstring, go ahead and bend the left knee as much as you need to, but try to keep the right leg straight. And if you don't have a strap, you could be holding the back of your right thigh here, pressing against your hands so that your right leg, there's a little bit of tension between arm and right leg. And now start to walk your hands up your right calf, bringing a deeper stretch into the hamstring, perhaps the calf. If you're using a strap, just bend the elbows apart so that your shoulders remain relaxed away from your neck. Keep flexing your right foot. And if your left leg is straight on the floor, also flex your left foot. Let's take 3 more breaths. So we're not trying to go 100% in stretching the back of your right leg. Back off if it feels like it's really deep. Just go about 70, 75%. Just a gentle warm up stretch. And now go ahead and bend your right knee, set your right foot on the ground. Let's do the warm up on the left side. So lifting the left leg, place your hands on the meat of your left hamstring, perpendicular to the left thigh to the floor, or you're using a strap against the back of your left thigh, pressing the thigh and strap or hands into each other. Flex the left foot and inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, dropping the heel towards the glute. Keep going at your own pace of breath. Inhale, straighten the left leg. And exhale, bend the knee. If you feel like your hamstring's warm enough and you want a deeper stretch in it, straighten the right leg forward, all the while bending and straightening the left leg. You got about 4 more cycles of breath. And if you are straightening the right leg, flex your right foot. Feel that you're keeping the same distance between left hip, left shoulder, and right hip, right shoulder. Trying to level out the pelvis. Finish this last round of bending the left leg. And then go ahead and straighten. If you have a strap, place it around the ball of your left foot, extending the left leg towards the sky while relaxing the shoulders on the ground. If you don't have a strap, you can place your hands at the back of your left thigh. And now flexing the left foot, begin to bring the left leg gently closer to your face. Now try not to bend your left knee. If it feels resistant in the back of the leg, go ahead and bend your right knee as much as you need. But let's keep the left leg straight, taking 3 more breaths here. Remember, just go about 75% into the stretch. Nice, and then from here, bend both knees and crisscross the right thigh over the left. We're gonna take a supine cow face pose as we had a request for some sciatica release. So take hold of either your outer feet, ankles, or shins, and gently pull the feet apart as you softly flex both and hug your thighs closer together. Then press your tailbone towards the ground, as well as the shoulders onto the floor, relaxing the neck. So you're probably feeling a stretch in your outer hips right now, your glutes, your outer thighs. And as you're pressing your tailbone towards the ground, we're also stretching the lower back. You might imagine breathing into the lower back. 2 more breaths. Supta Gomukhasana, supine cow face pose. Now, keeping the cross of your legs, we're gonna prepare for spinal twist. So scoot your pelvis a little closer to the right edge of your mat and slide your right arm wide out to the right, grounding that right shoulder. Begin to drop your knees over to the left. If crossing the legs makes the twist too intense for you right now, uncross the legs and just hug the knees together, dropping them both to the left side. To stretch the neck, you could turn your gaze towards your right hand, making sure that right shoulder does not leave the floor. Let's take 2 more breaths on this side. Think of drawing your right outer hip forward towards your left foot and away from your torso, helping to traction and create space in your lower spine. Now slowly roll onto your back and let's prepare for cow face pose first. So bring your pelvis towards the midline of your mat and cross the left thigh over the right, flexing both feet gently. Catch hold of either your outer feet, ankles, or shins, and gently pull your feet apart as you draw your tailbone onto the ground, relaxing the shoulders onto the ground. Deep breaths. Perhaps visualizing breathing into your sacrum at your lower back. Now, as we prepare for the spinal twist, choose, if you don't want it to be as intense of a twist, uncross your legs and just bend your knees together. Otherwise, keep the cross of the legs. Scoot your pelvis a little closer to the left edge of your mat. Slide your left arm wide on the floor, grounding the shoulder. Then slowly drop your knees towards the right. To stretch your neck, you can gaze towards your left hand. And to traction the lower back, draw your left outer hip forward. That's away from your torso and towards your feet. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Spinal twists can also be helpful in releasing pain from sciatica, nerve issues, as we create more space in the lower back. And as you roll onto your back, uncross your legs, keep the knees bent, and you might like to rock side to side, forward and back, or draw infinity symbols in the sky with your knees together. just a moment to loosen up whatever needs to move here. Massaging the back and the glutes onto the floor. Maybe even take happy baby and rock side to side. Now we're going to energize a bit with some pranayama. So turn over to one side and come into a tall, grounded seat. Preparing for Bhastrika. We haven't done that in a little bit. So for 1 minute of that, just a quick reminder of what bellows breath is. We begin with the elbows bent apart and your hands like fists. As the shoulders remain relaxed, we breathe into the belly, mouth closed, and raise the arms, fingers spread. And we breathe out through the nose, bending the elbows, refisting the hands rhythmically like this. You want to focus on expanding the lungs, expanding the belly, using your diaphragm. All right, so let's prepare for 1 minute. Bend the elbows, ready? Begin. And close your eyes. Steady your gaze just between the eyebrows. And relax, breathing naturally, still with eyes closed. Rest your hands in your lap. Just tune in for a moment. And if you have an intention to set for your practice, clarify that. As you deepen the breath into Ujjayi Pranayama, still warming up and creating a soft whisper as you gently narrow the back of your throat. Closing the lips, breathe a sustained breath equally in and out through the nose. So keep listening to that breath and gently open your eyes. Let's rise up to stand, and in honor of the crown energy center, that feeling of unity, consciousness, and really just taking a little bit from each energy center's characteristics. We're going to move into a Tai Chi flow that we've done before. So start with your feet apart, a little wider than hips distance. Spread your toes, parallel your feet, and get buoyant in the knees. So they're not locked, they're just softly bent. Feel the earth under the soles of your feet. The first movement, we raise the arms up, keeping the shoulders relaxed, and look up, honoring the open sky above, open possibilities. And then we bend the elbows and draw the palms downward, looking down and just feeling the earth underneath, honoring the ground below, our groundedness. And then from here, we step 1 foot slightly back, the palms meet in front of you, arms are straight, and then we open the palms slowly, tracing the horizon, symbolizing open horizon. Again, endless possibilities. As we step forward with that back foot, we slowly bring the palms together and towards ourselves, towards our heart, recognizing the open horizon that's within us. And as the palms face forward, we take 2 small steps forward, a gesture of giving and doing in this world. Then we take 2 steps back, a gesture of receiving and observing the effects of our actions. We cross one hand in front of the chest, a gesture of sending light from within us. The other hand across the chest, sending love from ourselves. Then as we stand tall, we gather everything in a gesture of embracing the tiger, which means acknowledging all of life's circumstances, including the challenges that have evolved us to here and now. Then we press the palms downward and stand tall, returning to the mountain, remembering who we are. So let's try that a couple more times. Standing tall, arms overhead, open sky above, hands towards the earth, ground below. 1 foot back, arms trace the horizon, open horizon before you. Step forward, palms come together slowly towards the heart, open horizon within you. 2 steps forward, palms face forward, the act of giving or doing. 2 steps back, the act of receiving and observing. Cross 1 palm in front of the chest, sending your light. Other palm in front of the chest, sending your love. Gather it all in, embrace the tiger. Palms towards the earth, stand tall, return to the mountain. Now in first person, feel the gestures. 1 more time. Sky above, earth below. 1 foot back, open horizon within me. 1 foot forward, 2 steps forward, giving or doing. 2 steps back, receiving or observing. Cross 1 palm in front, sending my light. Other palm in front, sending my love. I embrace the tiger and return to the mountain. So as you stand at the very top of your mat with your feet hips width apart, let's begin a slow sun salutation, C connecting to the breath. Inhale, raise your arms, palms meeting towards the sun. Exhale, hinge from your hips, perhaps bending the knees to support length in your back. Press your fingertips on the ground of your legs, lifting your chest, gaze forward and lengthen. Plant the fingertips outside of your heels and slip the left knee back into a kneeling lunge. With legs hips width apart, keep your fingertips on the floor and draw the tailbone forward and down, lifting the belly in. Plant the hands flat and step into plank pose. You might start on knees. And as you exhale, glide forward to lower the chin first, slide the belly forward, and then the pelvis to the ground. Inhale into cobra pose, just a light version to start, drawing the shoulders down. Press up to all fours, tuck the toes, and exhale into downward facing dog. Taking 1 breath in and out through the nose, lengthen your spine, draw your weight back. Inhale, raise the left leg behind you, squaring your hips. As you exhale, round the spine to softly land the foot just inside of the left hand, lower the right knee to lunge. Keep the fingertips down and breathe in, lift the heart, gazing forward, sink the tailbone down. Breathing out, step forward to stand in a fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, circle the arms and rise tall, arms reaching overhead. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the 7 energy centers, arms by your side. Last side, inhale, raise the arms, gaze up. Exhale, bow in. Press with your hands. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. Lower the fingertips. Exhale, right knee steps back to a lunge. Keep the fingertips down as you breathe in. Float the heart open. Draw the tailbone downward. Plant the hands and step to plank. Exhaling, knees, chin. Slide the belly and pelvis to the floor. Ground the tops of the feet. Inhale, cobra. Hug the elbows close to your sides. Press up to all fours, lifting the pelvis back. Downward facing dog. Take a full cycle of breath. On an inhale, raise the right leg behind you, squaring your hips. As you exhale, round the spine and step the right foot lightly inside of the right hand. Lower the back knee, keep the fingertips down. Inhale, lift the chest, drop the tailbone. Exhale, step it forward to stand in a full top of your mat. Sweep the arms and inhale, rise, looking up. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Sun salutation A. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway, step to plank, or lightly jump to chaturanga, however you want to practice based on your energy level. Lowering into cobra or upward facing dog as you breathe in to lift the chest. Exhale to downward facing dog, and let's stay there for a few breaths. See that your feet are at least hips distance apart and they're parallel. Your wrists are shoulders width apart and your index fingers are parallel, both pointing forward, the thumbs are flat. Now feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to eliminate rounding the back, especially the upper back, the shoulders. By rotating your triceps or outer upper arms towards the ground, broaden the shoulder blades and lift them away from the neck. Feel how spacious your neck is as you look downward towards your feet. Lift the sitting bones, engage the belly towards your back, and firm the fronts of your thigh bones further back. We've got 3 more breaths, finding stability and space here in downward dog. So I hadn't mentioned, but the crown energy center physically in postures is going to include more upside down, inversions, playing with some headstand possibilities today, if you're up for it. From here, keep your hips squared and inhale, raise the right leg behind you. Pause and think of, without actually visibly doing it, scissoring the legs towards your midline. Back the left outer hip towards the rear wall. Turn your right outer hip downward towards the floor. Try to feel that you are equally lengthening both sides of your torso as you relax your neck. Take another breath and press the right heel further back. Exhale, bend the right knee towards your nose, round forward, and see if you can actually bring that knee towards your nose like you're gonna kiss it. Lightly step the right foot inside of the right hand and come into crescent lunge, rooting down through both feet, rising up. So as you come up to stand, bend your left knee. You can always set it on the ground if you want more support, but take the bend to allow your tailbone to anchor downward, not so much tilting behind you, and lift your frontal hip bones so the lower belly engages. Keep scissoring the right hip back and the left hip forward. Now firm your outer hips towards your midline, so you're really putting effort into keeping an upright, stable pelvis from which your spine lifts and lengthens. Then draw the shoulder blades down the back as you raise your arms. If your left hip flexor feels warm enough, you might straighten the left leg all the way while still honoring that upright pelvis. You might even like to seal the palms and gaze up. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here in crescent lunge. Now bring your hands behind you to interlace the fingers. Hug the elbows close together and keep drawing the shoulder head slightly behind you and down, broadening the chest. Be mindful not to stick out the front ribs, but instead seal the bottom of your front ribs in towards your back and down towards your pubic bone. Still square your hips and just lean the torso forward, hovering your right side off of your right thigh. Scissor the right hip back, shift the left hip forward, and firm the left heel back. We've got 2 or 3 more breaths. Broadening the chest, lengthen through all the sides of your neck. Lower belly draws inward. Front ribs soften towards pubic bone. 1 more breath. Now spin your left heel down and slide your right foot a few inches to the left for warrior 2 so that you can align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Keeping that pelvic bowl as possible, wrap the right sitting bone down under your body and firm the top of your left thigh bone back towards the right wide width of your mat. Then open your arms wide and broaden your chest, shoulders, and upper back. As you relax the shoulders, relax the eyes, steady your gaze just on one spot in front of the right hand or eyes closed. Let's take 3 more breaths. Firming down through both feet, straighten your right leg to prepare for triangle pose. You might like a slightly shorter stance for stability. Slide your hips sideways towards the back edge of your mat and reach your right hand forward before tilting it down onto your right leg, or just to the right outside of your leg where your arm and leg confirm against each other. Make sure that you're not feeling like you're squishing the right side of your lower back, hip, or torso. You could with placing your right hand a little higher, if not on a block, so that you have good length in that right side body, even the neck. Turning your chest slightly up towards your left thumb. Let's take about 3 more breaths. Perhaps you're gazing up towards the left thumb. Sweep the left arm overhead and look at your right foot. Lower your hands to plank pose. Either hold plank for 3 to 5 breaths or lower through a vinyasa, you choose. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Feel the breath, calm and balanced. From downward dog, keep your hips squared and inhale, raise your left leg back. Pause here. As you draw your right outer hip towards your rear wall, turn your left outer hip downward towards the floor and flex the left toes to face the ground. Feel equal length on both sides of your torso and neck. And take one more breath as you press your left heel further back. Contracting the belly, exhale, round to plank, bending the knee towards your nose before softly stepping the left foot just inside of your left hand. Stay on the ball of your right foot. In a lunge, slowly rise up into crescent pose. So again, let's bend the back knee. You could set it on the ground if you want more support, but using the bend, find an upright pelvis. Anchor the tailbone downward. Lift the frontal hip bones as you engage the lower belly, and keep scissoring left hip slightly back, right hip slightly forward, firming your outer hips towards your midline. With stability at your center, lengthen up through the spine and arms, relaxing your shoulders. You might even seal the palms. Find a steady gaze as we take 3 more breaths. Perhaps you straighten the right leg. From here, bring your hands behind you and try switching the interlacing of your thumb and index finger on top, the non-default, and hug your elbows closer together. Draw the shoulders back and down, broadening the chest, and be mindful of sealing in the bottom of your front ribs and melting them downward towards the pubic bone. As you tilt the torso forward, just hover it on top of your left thigh. Still scissoring the left hip back, bending the front knee over the heel. We've got a couple more breaths. Firming the right heel back, gazing past the front edge of your mat with a relaxed face. One more breath. Then spin your right heel to the ground and slide your left foot a few inches to the right so that heel aligns with the arch of your right foot. Wide open arms, broaden your chest and upper back. So feel through the turnout of your left leg. You're wrapping your left sitting bone underneath your body, in contrast with firming the top of your right thigh bone back towards the left wide width of your mat. So as the pelvis remains upright, feel the space in your spine. Then steadying your gaze, let's take 3 more breaths here in Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Preparing for triangle pose, straighten your left leg, perhaps shorten your stance a couple inches. Slide your hips sideways towards the back of your mat and reach the left hand forward before lowering it onto your leg or just to the left of it. Wrap the left outer hip still under your body and create as much length in the left side of your torso as possible. Shoulder blades down the back, so equal length on both sides of the neck as you rotate your chest slightly to face the sky. If it feels okay on your neck, gaze up towards your right thumb. Again, let's explore 3 more breaths here. Utthita Trikonasana. Sweep your right arm overhead. Look down at your left foot. This time, frame your left foot with 2 hands and step the right foot to touch the left. Forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms and rise all the way up to stand. Exhale, trace the thumbs down your center line. With your feet touching, bend your knees to touch. Inhale into chair pose. Sink your weight towards the heels. We're here for 4 more breaths. So steady your gaze, relax the face. Focus on the qualities in your breathing that you want to feel, like balance and calm and groundedness. Hug in the bottom of your front ribs, lengthen the tailbone down, float your heart up and relax the shoulders. One last in-breath. As you exhale, lean forward and fold. Inhale, rise halfway up. Either step to hold plank for a few breaths or lower to your vinyasa. Cat-cow is also an option. Follow your pace of breath to downward facing dog. Keep your hips squared. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend the knee towards your nose. Try to very softly land the foot inside of your right hand for warrior one. Spinning the back heel down. Keep your feet as wide apart as your hips and your hips equally facing forward. Then root down to your legs and rise up. So warrior one, as you square your hips, similarly as we did in crescent lunge, root your left outer heel into the ground. Keep slightly lifting your frontal hip bones. From here, bring the hands behind you again and interlace your fingers. Bending your elbows close together, broaden the chest and lift your heart as you open your throat. Take a deep breath. Exhale, begin to bow forward, either resting on top of your right thigh or leaning the torso inside of your right leg, perhaps your head to the inner ankle. Be mindful to keep turning your hips to face forward. Think of scissoring your right hip back and firming your left heel down as you drop your head, releasing your neck. We've got about 3 more breaths here in humble warrior. Now, as you're slightly bending the elbows, notice your ability to lift the shoulders and free up even more space in your neck as you open the chest. Now take a look at the inside of your right foot on the ground. Plant your left fingertips there. Raise the left heel into a regular lunge. Hook your right thumb to the outer crease of your right hip, drawing it down as you re-level your 2 hips. And then twist to the right, raising the right arm to the sky. Now you could keep your right arm straight up, but if you're looking for more lateral stretch, more side stretch, wrap your right tricep towards your right wall and reach the right arm overhead towards your front wall while still releasing both shoulders down your back, turning the chest, level out your hips. Let's take 3 more breaths in this spinal twist. Now as you exhale, look down at your right foot, plant your 2 hands on the ground and step into plank. Bring your feet together to touch. Here in plank, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You could bring the knees down if you want to modify and separate the shoulder blades apart. Remember this little exercise of squeezing the shoulder blades, retracting, and spreading the shoulder blades apart, protracting. 3 more times. Squeeze. Notice the spine. You try to keep it in one straight line and protract. Go at your own pace of breath. 1 more time. Squeeze and protract. Stay in the protraction and look forward. Lengthen your neck. Firm the lower belly in. Firm the heels back if the legs are straight. Engage the fronts of your thighs. Take 1 more inhale. Then back to downward facing dog. Separating the feet, hips distance. Deep breath in. If you need to cool off, sigh it out or take a lion's breath. All right, side 2. Keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise the left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, contracting the belly so that Without a sound, if possible, you land the left foot just inside of your left hand. Slow and controlled, spin the back heel down, keeping your feet hips width apart and your two hips evenly facing forward. Rounding through the legs, rise up into Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Then bring your hands behind you. Let's switch the interlacing of thumb and index finger on top. Bend your elbows close together, draw the shoulders down the back, and breathe in, tilt your heart up. Keep the bend in your front knee, and exhale, begin to bow, either landing on your left thigh or on the inside of it. Trying to keep your hips still squared by scissoring the left hip back. So here in Humble Warrior, let's take about 3 more breaths. Let your head fall, relaxing the neck. Float the shoulders up, creating space in the neck. And bend your elbows as you reach the arms forward away from the lower back, opening your chest. From here, look at the ground just inside of your left foot. Place your right fingertips there and raise your right heel so your legs become a lunge. Hook your left thumb on the outer crease of your left hip, drawing it down to rebalance your two hips squared. Then raise your left arm as you twist to the left, turning the rib cage in isolation of your pelvis. Draw the shoulders down and back. Now, if you want a little more lateral stretch, rotate your left tricep towards the left wall and sweep the left arm overhead towards the front wall. Keep twisting. You've got 3 more breaths. Still balancing the hips and releasing the shoulders away from your neck. Look down and lower onto hands and knees. This time we're going to prepare to hold forearm plank. So lower your elbows to the floor, exactly shoulders width apart. Now let's come on to what I call karate chop hands, which means the palms face each other and you're pressing firmly down through the outsides of your wrists, pinky finger side of your hands. If that doesn't feel very stable, you could interlace the fingers instead and create a triangular base, or you make this out of your hands. And then from here, draw the shoulder blades apart. Remember that protraction? Look forward towards your thumbs and lengthen your neck. Try not to collapse your head. Draw the shoulders away from the neck and then tuck your toes and walk the feet back. Feet touching, forearm plank. So try to really visualize a plank. It's like a diving board, right? Like a flat line of wood. Find that feeling in your body. Lower belly lifts, chest broadens forward, crown of the head is stretching forward, tailbone and inner heels are stretching back. Last few breaths, flex the right toes off the floor, just the sliver. Keep hugging your hips still, trying not to waver the left and right hips like a seesaw. Keep hugging the midline, lower the right toes and flex the left toes off the floor, just a sliver, not too high. Keep lifting the lower belly, gazing forward, deep breaths. Lower the left toes, 2 more breaths. Broaden the chest forward, firm the heels back. Lift the navel towards the spine. And very slowly lower your knees, lower your pelvis into Sphinx pose. Straight the palms face down. And then just add a little organic movement to your neck. Any way you want to turn your head as you take a few breaths. From here, lower your forehead onto the ground to prepare for Shalabhasana, locust pose. Great for spinal strengthening, especially lower back strengthening. So bring your knees as close together as you can. When we come into the full expression of the pose, as it is for you, try to keep your ankles no wider apart than your hips distance and your feet and legs parallel. So point your toes back, bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face down. As you press your pubic bone into the ground, begin to press your heels back so much that you're able to lift your straight legs off the floor. Contracting the muscles under your shoulder blades, begin to lift the chest like cobra. Lift the arms either straight back, open to the sides where you start to turn the palms to face forward to open the fronts of the shoulders. Or if you don't have any lower back pain, Extend the arms overhead like you're holding a beach ball between your palms. And the upper arms are right alongside your ears while drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Now listen to your own count of at least 3 more full breaths, maybe longer, before lowering to rest. This is Shalabhasana, locust pose. When you do come down to rest, let's meet in child's pose. Slide all the way down to your feet with your feet touching at the rear of your mat. Knees can be as wide apart as needed to truly release your lower back. Let's extend the arms forward in child's pose for 3 to 5 breaths. In and out through the nose. Victorious breath. Feel spacious in your neck still as you draw the shoulders down your back. Beautiful. From here, let's walk the hands back and slowly lift the torso to sit for 1 round of boat pose Navasana. So we're targeting so many muscles around the torso that we call core, because there's so many of them that work interconnectedly as a team in unity consciousness. We've got so many systems within our body. So let's bring the feet together to touch, the knees together, tilt back just enough to lift your toes, zipper the navel in and up, lift the spine tall. Arms can be where you like, whether they're free or holding your legs or the floor. Perhaps you straighten the legs. Take a deep breath as you lift the chest. Exhale, 7. Steady your eyes, deep inhale, relax the face. Exhale, 6. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Flex or point your feet, inhale. Exhale, 4. Deep breath in. Exhale, 3. Navel towards spine, inhale. Exhale, 2. Can you feel your heart center lift? Exhale, 1. And slowly lower your feet. So let's come back to all fours. We're going to prepare for moving to the stages of coming into headstand. So stages, feel it to how your body responds to each stage, and then remain at the stage that is appropriate for you. Just enough challenge while you're still feeling ease in your breath. So coming down to all fours again. This version of headstand called Sirasana, we interlace the fingers like a webbing, but not completely closed like this. So there's some space between the palms, and then I like to coil the pinky fingers at the end, that part that meets the floor, so you don't crush the pinky finger. It looks like a snail. And then we root down the outer wrists, arms, and the elbows. And then we have a little opening in the inner palms so that the very, very top of your head, the crown, is going to be on the floor, making sure that you maintain the natural space in your throat and all the sides of your neck. Doesn't feel like you're tilting the chin to the chest, nor overextending it away from the chest. If you do that, the back of your skull gently rests against the inner webbing of your palms. Then you draw the shoulder blades apart, up away from the neck, and then you just start here to lift your pelvis like you would for dolphin pose. Now you lift your head lightly off the so it's a kind of a preparation to headstand. You could walk the feet forward and scoop the belly in like we did in boat pose and flex one foot, raising a leg as you square the hips. Think of hugging your midline, and then switch, resting in child's pose anytime you feel like it's necessary. And as you raise one leg, you could even use that lift to begin lifting the other foot lightly off the floor. The leg up quickly to try to get both legs off the floor. You want it to be slow and controlled movements like we've been doing from downward dog, bending knee to nose, and other postures. So you can use the legs, raising one leg and using the hamstring to try to lift the opposite foot from the ground. Whether or not it happens, really it's just tuning in, like what are the muscles at work? What are the members of the team help you feel balanced, stable, strong, confident, including the breath. Remember, when you raise the leg, you flex the foot, and then come down to rest whenever you're ready to pose. Might feel good when you get to child's pose to just drape the arms outside of your thighs and to turn one ear towards the floor, stretching your neck on one side. And then after a few breaths, switch the opposite ear to the floor. Now I invite you to choose one more heated inversion, which excludes shoulder stand or lying on your back and lifting the legs, because we're still in the heating upside down poses. So that could be dog, it could be dolphin pose with variations, or it could be again Surasana headstand or tripod headstand. So taking your choice, practice it if you can for about 10 breaths. Could be dolphin pose with a variation of top of the head to the floor. Just be very mindful of your neck. As much in your forearms to the ground. While you're lifting the legs, think of hugging your midline. So the neck, and you're lifting up through the inner heels with the tailbone. And as you're ready to rest, we'll meet again in child's pose. This time in child's pose, with more lateral stretch for the spine, you could crawl the arms forward and over to the right for reaching outside of your mat. And then over to the left for a few breaths, reaching outside of your mat on your own. Remember that when you've been upside down for a while, you want to avoid lifting your head up too quickly so that you don't become lightheaded. And keep the head low for a while and gradually lift it. Child's pose. Place your hands on the floor alongside your knees. Tuck your chin towards your chest, and slowly roll your spine upright. Let's set up for one last back bend of your choice, whether it be bridge pose, lying on your back, or upward facing bow, hands alongside the ears, or lying on your stomach, catching hold of your outer feet in bow. I'm going to set up for upward facing bow in case you want to do that with me. Take your choice on your own for 5 to 10 breaths. So making sure you have the feet set up well, you want to have the arms by your sides with your knees bent, and your heels should be almost reachable with your fingertips, but not quite. Feet are parallel. That's very important to support your lower back, your hips width apart. And then you lift up the pelvis. The hands are alongside the ears with the fingertips pointing at the shoulders. The arms stay parallel. Try not to flare the elbows away from each other. Then you lift the pelvis like bridge and bring the top of the head to the mat, adjusting your hands to perhaps turn out the fingertips a little to prevent elbows from splaying. And here you push off the hands, energize your hamstrings, pretending that you're dragging the heels towards your glutes without visibly moving them, while lengthening your fronts of your thighs forward parallel to each other, broadening the chest, dropping the head. And after 5 to 10 deep breaths, expanding the lungs to capacity, energizing your heart space. Take your time to go in reverse to come down, bringing the top of the head to the floor, tucking the chin towards your chest, and then slowly lowering one vertebra at a time. So when you're finished with your back bend at your own pace, take a moving twist of your choice. It could be keeping the feet on the floor, the knees bent, and just gently windshield wiping the shins together, side to side. Or holding a different kind of twist of your choice, a few breaths from each side. This is great for helping to neutralize the spine after bending the spine in one direction before you bend it in the opposite direction, so that the contrast of the two is not so abrupt. All right, so choose to either lift your legs up as you lie on your back with or without a prop. Practice shoulder stand or plow if you know how to do it safely and are free from neck or shoulder injuries. Or sit up to fold over your legs in Paschimottanasana. I'm gonna do the latter. You're sitting up, feet are flexed, hips width apart, spine as long as you lengthen the chest forward to bow. So whatever cooling posture that is somewhat a forward fold you're practicing, take it for another 5 deep breaths. Focus on lengthening your exhales, even slower than your inhales, to help your body cool down. You might also breathe out through the mouth, and to help further relax your nervous system. Begin to lower your body into any position for Shavasana in which you can feel complete relaxation. Closing your eyes, resting your body in stillness, and letting go of controlling your breath as you stay aware of it. We'll be here for a few minutes before a short pranayama and meditation. Now you can opt to stay longer in Shavasana if you don't feel ready to come out of it. But if you'd like to practice alternate nostril breathing and 1 minute of meditation after, start to move your body and ease up into a comfortable seat. And once you are sitting tall and grounded, rest your left hand on your lap, in which you might bring the thumb and first finger to touch to help concentrate. With your right hand, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring finger, close your lips, and just breathe softly and sustained through your nose, closing the eyes too when you're ready. Empty this breath out and hold it. With your right thumb, cover your right nostril and inhale through the left for about 6 seconds. Hold the breath in for about 3 seconds. Cover the left nostril with the 2 fingers. Exhale to the right 6 seconds. Hold the breath for 3 seconds. Inhale to right. Hold. Cover right with thumb. Exhale to left. Hold. Inhale to left. Hold. Hover left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Hover right. And exhale left. Releasing both hands. Let's sit for 1 minute in meditation. Feeling the breath, observing the moment. Deep breath to fill your lungs, lift your heart space, and exhale to your lips. If you'd like to close together and you're still lying down, gradually lift your body up to sit. Just join the palms to meet at your heart, bowing in recognition of your inner guidance, in recognition of the light within you, all the many gifts that you have to share with this world, and all the many gifts that each of us has to share with this world. In our uniqueness, in our unity, let's close with an Om. Take a deep breath.